The universe is infinite. It's limitless. We can draw on it for any desired good. There's no limit to the good we can manifest for ourselves and for those around us. And it awaits our recognition. We've got to break free. We've got to break free from that which is limiting us. We've got to break free from thoughts, because that's where it all starts. How many people are reading this book with me this month? It's $10. Go get it after service. Someone sent me an email from our community. Very successful businessman, ready to start his own nonprofit. Beautiful vision for his nonprofit. And he's reading this book. He's probably a little younger than me, and he's reading this book for the first time. He said, this should be required reading in any master's business program, whatever. He was like, I can't believe that I haven't read this book before. Napoleon Hill. I mean, this goes back a ways, doesn't it? Yeah, so back to break free. We really got to break free and free from these thoughts of lack, of any thoughts that come up within us of limitation, any negative thoughts, because we're the only ones that can do this. Doesn't matter what's going on out here. It all starts within here. And Napoleon Hill just constantly talks about this. I mean, it goes way back before him. Pre-Socratics. It's like, how long is it going to take for us to get this, right? And I'm still working on it. How about you? And that's okay that I'm still working on it, because I know there's no one magic pill, but if I take that pill every day, something starts to happen, right? And so to really start thinking about the thoughts that I typically have. So just think about the past year. If you think about the past year and the thoughts that have come up or repeating themselves that maybe sometimes you believe when the thoughts come up. Maybe somebody says something outside of you and inside yourself you go, yeah, that's right. You know, if you start thinking about these thoughts in the past year and you were to sort of collect them, collect them all, I'm wondering inside yourself, in the truth of your own being right now in this moment, if you think about them, how many? Like if you were to put them on a scale, how many are thoughts of lack, limitation, negative thoughts versus limitless, abundance, good, all of that? Got an idea about that? Yes? Okay. And the great news is any of this, any thoughts pertaining to any subject matter, we're talking this month about prosperity and success. So let's think about some of these thoughts as it relates to money. Anybody ever have a thought like this? I can't pay the rent this month. I don't have enough money to do the things I want to do. Okay, I never have enough when it comes to money, right? These are the thoughts that I'm speaking of. And then what do we do when those thoughts come up? That's what's important. And success. Well, I don't know that I can start my own business. I don't have the capital. I don't have the wherewithal. I've never done this before. I want to go back to school. I can't go back to school. I'm too old. Whatever it is, these thoughts that come up. And do these thoughts repeat themselves? They just might look different, but over and over again. How about someone that really wants a great job, a position, and it's, why even attempt? I don't have the credentials that they're looking for. I've gotten positions that I didn't have the credentials that they were looking for. I know a lot of people that have. Or the one that says, I won't get the job There are too many people applying. Why even try? Oh, so there are people out there that have been trying much longer than me. I heard this recently from someone in this community. There are people out there that have been trying much longer. There's a long waiting list. So the person showed up for the interview, but really didn't believe that this person was going to get the job because they didn't really think, well, I haven't been trying as long as they have. So, why, not why bother, but just sort of half get to the interview. You know what it's like when you're sort of half doing something in front of someone? Are you half listening to me right now? No. Yay. Right? What if you're half fully present and something really important's going down, right? Yeah, sort of half. Oh, what'd you say? So it's these thoughts, these ideas. And so in order to experience, and that's what I want everyone, is to have the experience of a prosperous and successful life, whatever that means to you. A prosperous and successful life, in order to have that, it really starts, and it only starts, and it's ever only started within our own minds. Now, you still can choose to believe that or not. It's okay, but there's so much proof. Now, as they talk about a little bit in this book, but in all the other articles that you can get on the internet that are recent, it's been proven scientifically now. So if you need it to be proved through science, it is proven through science. Everything that we are talking about in teaching, in this faith, this philosophy, this way of life. So we've got to start in our own minds. We've got to keep repeating it in our own minds. And we've got to do that on a daily basis. And we've got to stay there. It's not just, here I am, and then it goes away. We've got to stay there. We've got to stay right there in our own minds. And he talks about this, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill says, nature has so built us that we have absolute control over the material which reaches our subconscious mind through our five senses. Although this is not meant to be construed as a statement that we always exercise this control. In the great majority of instances, we do not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Now, I'm going to say poverty doesn't just mean money, right? Poverty is a really big form of lack. Lack of love in relationship. You could be in a relationship, but there might be lack of love in the relationship. Lack of very deep friendships, lack of self-worth, lack of, so he's saying many of us go through life because we're not exercising what? We're not exercising control. Where? Within our own mind that absolutely gets into our subconscious, which is a powerful place that I'm going to talk about a little bit today. So, the great news is, though, that no matter what experiences we've had and no matter where we are right now, we can shift from that. We can shift from this thought of lack to abundance. We can shift from limited to the limitless. We can shift the negative to the positive. And I know you've done this a time or two, haven't you? Yes. And so to sort of break it down so we can break free, I am going to start where I started at the first of the month. It's like this, I want to just keep the constant drip, the drum beat, because it's so important. And so to understand that which takes place on the macro of life, we're talking the entire universe, the cosmos, that which takes place, that which occurs on the macro of life itself, you might call it God, Spirit, Allah, whatever, on the macro side of life, the same thing is taking place on the micro side of life. There is no difference. What's true for the universal is true for the individualized. We're all individualized expression of this universal thing, right? And so what is true of spirit, God, universe, the cosmos, the energy, whatever one chooses to call it, is true for you. It's true as you. And the more we can really understand and believe, the more our life is in congruence and alignment with that very thing. And what happens on the universe happens in the I-verse. That was good. At least I thought so. Spirit just made that up right then. And you are the only spot, you're the only little spot, the little drop where this individualized expression shows up as you. And you get to determine and decide and choose what it is you want to experience and draw from this macro. Okay? There is this quote that Ernest Helms has that I just love. And he says that prosperity awaits our recognition and acceptance of it. Prosperity awaits our recognition and acceptance of it. So it already exists. So that's the first thing he's saying. Prosperity, it already exists. It's been existing since time began, but when did time there is no such thing as time. That's another talk. Anyway, it already exists. It awaits our seeing it. It awaits our seeing it, and it awaits each of us accepting it as our own. This thing called prosperity, which is already there, already exists. So I talked about it on the first Sunday of this month, that there is this limitless divine substance. I call it this divine oceanic substance. And it's always there. It's always present wherever we go. You might call it the mind, the one mind. You might call it energy. It doesn't matter. And it's this unlimited supply that surrounds you. There's no spot that you can go where it's not surrounding you. Just go, there it is, there it is. I mean, there's just nowhere. This unlimited supply is surrounding you. Spiritual substance is all around us, waiting to be formed. He's saying the same thing. It's waiting. This creative medium, this spiritual goo, shall we say, it's just waiting to be formed. And this is what Jesus meant when he said, I say unto you, ask, and it shall be given to you. This is not only in Luke, it's in Matthew, but ask unto you, ask, and it shall be given unto you. And this is what he was saying in that. So the interesting thing, and the thing that I'm going to talk about even more at my Money is God in Action workshop at 1 o'clock today. There's already 80 signed up. So I know this is something for all of us, right? But this word ask, right here, it's so important for us to understand what is being said in the time, in the place, in the circumstance. And he's saying, ask, and it shall be given unto you. This word ask, when he uses it, it comes from the Greek word and the Greek root, which has a strong connotation towards claim or demand. That changes everything. Ask. Claim, demand. See, as soon as I've now, over 12 years, when I say those words that happened earlier, claim, demand, there's something within me. It's like this, like the biggest energy inside myself rises up and starts to vibrate when I say claim. I love that. There's no like anger or anything like that. It's just this knowing. It's like this claim. To get that inside yourself, to claim and demand. And that's what Jesus was saying when he said, ask. And we can claim and we can demand it because the law must work. It must work in compliance with our demand. Wow. That still blows my mind. So, if the good, Ernest Holmes tells us that if the good were not already ours in the invisible supply, it would be impossible for us to procure it in any moment and in any manner. So, and yet procure millions of people have. Yes? So abundance is your divine birthright. Abundance is your divine birthright. And this prosperity, this abundance, he's claiming it, already exists. Right, Jessica? He's claiming it now. Don't let him wait to get as old as me. So, here's what I want us to start thinking about. Think about this that I'm talking about as like a spiritual bank account. A spiritual bank account. And it's sitting there awaiting your recognition. Hi, spiritual bank account. Hey, spiritual bank account. Oh my goodness. It's sitting there awaiting our recognition. And you have a right to draw on it. I'm going to draw from that spiritual bank account. I have a right to. It's mine. It's the same thing that you have the right to draw any and all or whatever amount of your money sitting in your bank account, however many you've got, right? At any time you want and use it for whatever you want. Yes? I wouldn't want you to use that money to harm anyone or anything else. It's the same with the spiritual bank account. That's the one thing we emphasize, right? But there's this spiritual bank account, and you have a right to use it. Now, let's say someone, very generous, someone told you that they deposited $100,000 in your bank account. Woohoo! All right? Someone has deposited, I'm telling you, hey, I just deposited $100,000 in your bank account. You're welcome. All right? I give you the name of the bank account and where it is, but you don't believe me. I have just put $100,000 in this bank account in your name, and you go, yeah, right. Stop pulling my leg, that's not true, right? These things start to happen in our mind, right? And I've said, I've put $100,000 in this bank account. Now the money, that $100,000 is sitting there. It's sitting there, and it's awaiting your recognition. It is awaiting your recognition, and it sits there, and it's not doing you any good because you've said, this can't be true. Even if you're concerned about how to pay your next mortgage. So, that money truly could lie there, useless. Could lie there idle. Could lie there not being used. Even if you're about to lose your house or have creditors calling you because you don't believe it. So the money is not doing you any good. So, in order for you to truly benefit from the $100,000 that's sitting in the bank account, that's been placed in your bank account, you need to go to the bank and begin to draw on that account. Understand? right? And we don't draw from it if we continue to believe in lack and limitation and entertain this over and over of thoughts of such things. It's the same thing. This spiritual bank account, unlimited. This is the nature of the universe. This is the nature of the universe. And it takes form according to a pattern. So we teach this in every single one of our classes, science and mind classes, beginning with foundations. And what we do is we teach this thing called the creative process. This is how the universe works. One could spend a lot of time poking holes in it to prove it's not, or one could just say, I believe this works, and start from there. This is how the universe works. And it takes form according to a pattern. Through the process we call law. This is spiritual law, universal law, this creative medium, this soul stuff. Oh goodness, Ernest Holmes has so many names for it, it gets a little confusing. But it's this part of this creative medium, this soil, let's say, where there is something put into it, thought. It gets into the subconscious. That's another word he uses for it, subconscious mind, right? And that creates a pattern. And within us, there's this creative field, and it's called the subjective mind, also subject to what? The mold. It's also called subconscious mind. And around us, there is that which we call universal subjectivity. Where did I start, right? This oceanic divine substance, universal subjectivity. One is universal, one is individual. I'm not pointing to my mind. I don't want to confuse you. But one is individual, and it's all one and the same. There's not two minds. There's one subjective, subconscious mind, and I'm the spot where that form is chosen and how it takes place. So this one mental law in the universe is where we each get to choose how to use it. We get to choose how to draw from this spiritual bank account, right? And it becomes the law in our life because we have chosen how to individualize it. And we do that through belief. We do that through conviction. We do that through our emotions. Boy, when you get all three of those, well, that fire ready. It's ready. It's happening, right? And so it's belief and it's conviction and it's emotions, and that provides the pattern, like a mold put in the water in the ice cube tray, spits out what? Ice cube, manifestation. That's what it is through the law. And Napoleon Hill talks about this. I was like, there he is. There he is. He's talking about this. And let's see what he says about it. The subconscious mind works day and night. It draws upon the forces of infinite intelligence for the power with which it voluntarily transmutes desires into their physical equivalent, desires, wants, into physical equivalents. You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily hand over to it any plan, desire, or purpose you wish to be transformed into concrete form. There is plenty of evidence to support the belief that the subconscious mind is the connecting link between the finite mind and the infinite intelligence. Ernest Holmes says it's one thing, right? It is the intermediary through which one may draw upon the forces of infinite intelligence at will. It alone contains the secret process, secret sauce, by which mental impulses are modified and changed into their spiritual equivalent. It alone is the medium through which prayer may be transmitted to the source capable of answering prayer. The possibilities of creative effort connected with the subconscious mind are stupendous and imponderable. They inspire one with awe. He says, I found this interesting. I never approach the discussion of the subconscious mind without a feeling of littleness and inferiority due, perhaps, to the fact that the entire stock of knowledge on this subject is so pitifully limited. You're in the storehouse of the knowledge. Right here in this community. The very fact that the subconscious mind is the medium of communication between the thinking mind and the infinite intelligence is of itself a thought that almost paralyzes one's reason. Is your reason going, what is Karen talking about? It's all here. Again, the universe is infinite. It's limitless. We can draw on it for any desired good. There's no limit to the good we can manifest for ourselves and for those around us. And it awaits our recognition. He says, accept. So go ahead and accept as a reality the existence of the subconscious mind and understand its possibilities as a medium for transmuting, meaning delivering your desires into their physical or monetary equivalent. Now, I'm aware of our wanting to monetize them or materialize them. There are things that we may not know that are within us that have been going back from generation to generation to generation to generation that says, I shouldn't want that, I shouldn't have that, that's not good if I have a really prosperous life, etc. We'll talk about that this afternoon at 1. So, thoughts, especially, again, thoughts that have feelings, you know, positive or negative, you know when the feelings are strong, what happens? Feelings has conviction and belief. Those really, really fire up those thoughts. And thank goodness, because I wouldn't want every one of my thoughts to be made manifest. Pink bunny that poops on the platform. Where'd I get that thought? I don't know. But there was no feeling, there was no conviction, and there was no belief about that pink bunny showing up, pooping on the platform. Where did the pink bunny? I don't know. I don't care. I can't be a minister. I have no experience in that. Boy, did I have to constantly work with that one. Right? We each get to constantly work with these things over and over again. So we're working towards together, individually and together, letting go of any thoughts of lacks, limitation, and negativity. Not to let them take root. That's the thing. Not to let them take root from this moment on. We start again. Not to let them take root. And that takes consistency and persistency. That's the very thing that Petra was talking about last Sunday. And why should we let them take root and form anyway when it's not the truth? It's fake news. Right? The truth is, you have an unlimited spiritual bank account from which you can draw on at any time. Say, I have a spiritual bank account.
I have a spiritual bank account.
Now listen, is there something in you that says, no, you don't? What do you do with that? You either ignore it, or what I do is, yes, I do. Ignore it, silence could be consent. Let's try it again. I have an unlimited spiritual bank account. Let's try that. I have an unlimited spiritual bank account. I can draw on it at any time. Yeah. So this is where it starts, and it doesn't ever end. Again, there is no magic pill. I know we want the answer and that it's just going to happen magically. No. But every single day, every single moment, pop it. Pop the pill. When you say, Karen told me, and I believe that I have an unlimited spiritual bank account, and I can draw on it at any time. And then that thing within you, I don't know what it is, says, you are nuts. You are crazy. No, you don't. You don't have 2 pennies to rub in your bank account. I'm going to turn around to it, and I'm going to say, yes, I do. It's right there. She said, I have $100,000 in my bank account. She gave it to me. I believe it's there. I know it's there. Everything, including money, is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Everything is an expression of spirit. Watch where your mind goes. Keep it on. Everything is an expression of spirit. Spirit is limitless. We are wired. We have been trained to focus on the negative, to focus on the lack. You're not good looking enough. You don't think that. Well, just buy this. Right? We've been trained. It's time to break free, get out of those cages, right? Remember the elephant? The elephant. You know how they train the elephant. They train the elephant with a little string or chain, right? One of the biggest mammals on planet Earth. I trust they continue to thrive. And, eventually that elephant just buys into, I can't move anywhere. And that elephant can just pick their foot up and walk on. We've been trained. I'm here to untrain you so you can break free. And it takes consistency and it takes persistency. And the only person that can do it is you. And the only person that is responsible is you. And I'm here to lock arms with you step by step, moment by moment, class by class, as is every other teacher, practitioner, minister in this community, and everybody that's taking classes. And coming here on Sundays, let's just all lock arms and say, I have an unlimited spiritual bank account. Let's try that again. I have an unlimited spiritual bank account. It's going to take a lot of persistency and consistency in it. And so, spirit is limitless, so You get to place your order in this cosmic storehouse. Just think of it like this cosmic storehouse. I'll just give you different images. One will work for you, I trust. If not, make one up. Right? And to have a greater supply of good and to have that good become tangible in your life and your experience, you've got to identify yourself because you are that cosmic storehouse. Because the macro and the micro are the exact same thing. God is, I am that I am. So you cannot do this by thinking about it as though it is impossible. You can't do it by feeding your subconscious thoughts that great financial supply is unlikely. Or stating inside yourself over and over again that you don't have enough now. That's not going to work. If you've already been doing that, you've proven it's not working. So try something new. And think about this unlimited spiritual bank account with feelings, like all the feelings. You know, I did this recently. I did a spiritual mind treatment where no one could hear me. I was out yonder ways. And boy, did I do it. And I had every feeling. I was like, yes, woo, woo, celebrating, woo, ah, woo. You know, come on. Like, what would it feel like if you won the $400 million lotto? Woo! Don't forget to tithe to CSLDallas. But I'm just saying, you know that feeling. Like, you go home today and go, gosh, there is $100,000 in my bank account. Over and over and over again. That's what we're doing. Because this all-surrounding universe of mind is available to you and becomes your experience according to the pattern that you choose. And if you choose money, then money you shall have. If you choose love, love you shall have. Now, you can't hold on to things. You can't hold on to your love and not give it. We'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks. I don't want to tell you that because you won't show up. But I'm just saying, right? You hold on. What does that say? I don't have enough to give. Right? I don't have enough love to give. I can't give you a hug because I don't have enough for the month. It's going to deplete me. I only have 13 hugs to give for the rest of the month. You can't have any. I've counted them. I'll give you one. And the universe says, oh, you just drew on that unlimited spiritual bank account. Let me give you some more. Right? Money is God in action. Money is spiritual. You get to choose a different pattern. This is what I'm inviting you to do, starting today. And you got to keep the pattern going. You can't ever, I do this every day. Anytime a thought comes within me, like when I went from a sales executive career, it never had a ceiling on it. I not only got a big whopping salary, but then it was like unlimited commissions. I made the most money I ever made in my life during the 2008 recession. Why? Because I was in science mind classes, and I put it to work. In 2008 and 2009 and 2010, they couldn't pay me my compensation package. But when I went from that prior career to ministry, I get a salary only. Boy, did I have to work on it to keep this limitless consciousness still in my life. And I made sure it didn't take root. The moment it started happening, well, that's all I'm going to make. Oh, there it is. That's only, there it is. Like, no, I don't need to know where it comes from. Right? I don't need to know what form it comes in. I just need to know that I have a spiritual bank account that is limitless that I can draw from. So, when the thoughts come up, you got to catch yourself. We have to catch ourselves. Within ourselves, we have to say, oh, I can't pay the rent this month. Say, there is more than enough, and that includes my rent, and I have money left over. Well, we're just replacing it with, I live in an abundant universe. We're replacing it. When it comes up, I don't have enough money to do the things I want. I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. That's my definition of prosperity. So we're going to work on this more this afternoon. But we've got to replace it. I don't just let it stay idle. I at least say, no, that's not the truth. That's fake news. I like to replace it with what is the truth. That's what I invite you to start practicing to do within yourself. Have a practice buddy. Ask the people closest in your life to start listening to your language. Your language is going to say how your life got to be this way. And when you say, oh, I don't have enough, there it is. Have the friend go, there. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So we can erase the thought from our consciousness so it doesn't get into the subconscious, because that's where the goods are, and we replace it. We can rub it out, and it rubs it out just like a dry erase marker. It's gone. Then it's not becoming causal in my life. I'm only planting what I want to be causal in my life, and that means what's going to outpicture in my life. I love that we have people in here that I know are in their 20s, because this is the thing to grab. Grab now, practice it, practice it, practice it. And for all of us that I'm twice that, I'm still grabbing it and practicing it. I'm not wasting it, because that spiritual bank account has been there all along, and it's my time to claim it. Because there's a lot of good that we can do with this spiritual stuff called money. So, if up until now you've had a belief in lack, just know there is no such thing. There is no lack. Tell yourself that there is no lack. Oh, good. There is abundance. See? You're replacing it. There is no lack. My life is abundant. Right? I came here so that you may live the abundant life, he said. Master teacher. We are all the I am came here to lead and live the abundant life. That is our purpose. And I believe that it is specifically because you're here, not that anyone is excluded from this, but I know that you're here for such a time as this, because when hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people prove that this works, it'll be taught in our schools. Wouldn't it be great to teach the way life works? The patterns of life. So just be awake, be aware, thoughts subtle, watch for the subtleties, but we can start today. We can be vigilant every day. It takes persistency and consistency, because you are in control of what goes into your subconscious mind, and it's one mind. Control the pattern. Break free. Prosperity awaits our recognition and acceptance of it. It's here. It's awaiting. Let's accept it. Let's start drawing on it and claim that this unlimited spiritual bank account is yours right here and right now, and draw from it. Yes. Shall we pray? There is only one. That which is this one is limitless. It has no circumference to it. Its center is everywhere, for it is omnipresent. It is omnipotent. It is this infinite intelligence that knows how to be. And all of life, this one life is about the abundance of life itself. It is in everywhere shown in its material form. In the cosmos, to the galaxies, the trillions of galaxies, and within each galaxy there's trillions of stars. There's so many that they can't be counted. And this thing called the cosmos keeps expanding. So this spiritual life in its physical form is abundant. And because I know that this life is abundant and it is all about the abundance of life, I know that I am that I am. I am that which comes to live an abundant life. And because I know this is the truth of my life, I know this is the truth of every single person in the sound of this voice and beyond. We came here to live this abundant life, an abundance of love, an abundance of peace, an abundance of beauty, an abundance of creativity, an abundance of wisdom, an abundance of joy, an abundance of this current called currency. Whatever it is, we came to live this abundantly. So there is no lack, there is no limitation in our life. There are limitless creative ideas, connections, to bring that into form. And I know that any thoughts of lack or limitation are just dropped and let loose and let go. For it's fake news. And I declare and claim that we live that abundant life right here and right now through the power of our thoughts, through the power of our spoken words, through the power of our affirmations, through the power of creating a new pattern, a new groove, a new day for each of our lives so that we have more to share and to spare with the one. I release these words into the universal law, knowing that the law knows how to do its thing. In full faith and trust, I know this is so. Therefore, it must be so. And if you, like me, know this, I invite you to say Ashe, Aho, Amin, Amen, and so it is.